See, I'm not sure there's a way to sugarcoat this thing. I am unhappy with Hijack 93. Very unhappy. My unhappiness is caused by many things the film does and doesn't do. And it's been heartbreaking because I had so much hope going into this film. In fact, I had recorded and published a video on the general hijacking incident from 1993 a few days back. You know, all in anticipation and build up for this project, which I thought was going to be profound. Now that I look back, I just think how silly I was a few days ago, because I made this Play Network Studios. What was I expecting? Okay, scratch that. That's unfair, because Play Network Studios has indeed given some films I think are good, some modern day classics, like Living in Bondage, Breaking Free. I thought that was a good film. There's also Blood Vessel. I like Blood Vessel. You know, I didn't think it was a great film, you know, all the way, but I thought it had potential. And for the most part, I liked it. You know, but generally, I think Play Network has more misses than hits, you know, but there's that potential to tell good stories, you know. Visually, they're always stunning. So I had hope. Hope is not a bad thing. Hijack 93 was always an ambitious project. That story is one of the few very high-octane stories we have in Nigeria's history that is not so much from the time of our forefathers, you know. Parents lived through that. Listen, some of us actually were born around that time. You know, some of us were toddlers around that time, you know. So, you know, yeah, well, it was disappointing. Let me quickly get out of the way the things I think they did right, you know. So it's not like all doom and gloom before I really get into the needs of the things that pains me, or just about expressing my feelings, because honestly, I don't know. So what did they get right? Let me see. And like I said before, it's visually stunning. That's a thing with all. It's a given with all Play Network Studios films. Living in Bondage, Breaking Free was stunning. I think that was their first film in 2019. It looked good, you know. And every one after that, Ahana, Rattlesnake, even Neck at the Pretty Serpent, which I thought was a silly film. Story-wise, actually, it looked stunning visually. Did 𝐿𝐴𝐾𝐿 look stunning? I can't remember. I've tried to erase that film from my memory, so I can't speak to 𝐿𝐴𝐾𝐿. But generally, they make visually stunning films, you know, and Hijack 93 is no exception. What else did I like about this film? New faces. Yes, that's another thing Play Network gets right. They know how to infuse new faces. Listen, they always cast new faces that are actually engaging and go on to do great things. If I'm not mistaken, that's how we got Stanenze, at least in mainstream Hollywood. In the mainstream Hollywood care. I probably explain why Hollywood is in my mouth later. We had a couple of new faces. Nnamdi Agbo, Alison Newell. I can't remember their on-screen names at this point because they were silly. They were they were creative, you know, and they had backstories for the name. But I still thought that they were silly names that were hard to remember. So yeah, but I have to grasp through the name. That's just nitpicking. I even hear Alison Newell. This is his breakout. No, this is his first role actually. Yes, from the tweet I saw of his. This is his first role, a lead role. So that's really big stuff for his career, you know, and he does well with the material he was given, because that is the material we got a pick. Oh, and I don't even know who to blame here, because I'm not even sure the writer is to blame. If the writer will get a part of this, but I feel like the problem we had with this film is from the direction it chooses to go, which is not the writer. The writer is but a tool in the hands of the producers. The director as well is just a tool to tell it. You know, so my main problem with this film is the direction it thought to go. The story it thought to tell, which we know the story already, but the way because it tells us from the beginning that this is just going to show you a picture of what it is. This is it. And in any way, rewriting history, but it already told us that similarities in characters are coincident. So the direction that they decided to go with the story, I don't know why. And the structure, the way the story is structured, it's a mess. The leads, because there's no lead, so I'm just going to say the leads. We had 4 leads. There was no main character. There was no one character whose story we're following. At the point, you think it is 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲's character. I can't remember his name right now, so I'm just going to keep calling him by his real name. So 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲's character, that one, his backstory is that his dad used to maltreat him until he met his own personal Lord and Savior, played by Sam Diddy. So Sam Diddy just radicalizes the guy, and then, and he's trying to make a point. So at the point, you think he's the main character because his backstory is sort of compelling and his performance has the most feel to it, But then you're reminded ever so often that Nnamdi Agbo is the leader of the ragtags. I'm the one calling them ragtags. He's the leader of the crew. He says that even though he never really does anything to, I don't know. Like I said, the actors are good. I mean, I've followed Nnamdi Agbo from Chatham. Yes, Chatham is on Showmax. It's one of my favorite shows on Showmax. Returning in January for the remaining 60-something episodes. It's a good show, and he is a good actor. He plays Prince Nwoye on that show, and he's good. I enjoy him and every other person on that show. So I know he's talented. I seen in this short film, The Bad Scream, that the annual film Mischief 2024. So he's a good actor. It's just the way his character is written. And this is the same for all the other characters, including the soldiers and, the Nigerian soldiers, the Nigerian soldiers, their captains. Nobody's likable. Nobody's interesting. Nobody has anything compelling they are saying. Nobody has anything compelling they are doing. It's just a bunch of people thrown into an arena and told to just dance around. Just dance. And then you say, oh God, well, the music, I don't know, it's not darling, dance, just dance, and they start to dance. And sometimes they hit the beat, and you think, oh, we're going somewhere, and then it's lost. So yeah, structure, the story, I have no problem with creative license, do your thing. But when you have a high octane source, inspiration, like we have here, the real story reads like crazy. You can check out I can call it a documentary, but my recap of the main story from history, just click this tag to do that. Very compelling stuff. And then you watch what we are given, and it is anything but compelling. It is, it's from the get-go, it is a drag. The first 10 minutes want to send you to sleep, and then you're like hopeful because you know where we're going, and you hope that once we get into the thick of things, it picks up. But when we get into the plane and it's just from one illogical decision to the other, it's just, you're wondering, why is everybody just, I don't know, they have the one of the guys who's just trying to fall in love. Oga, why? Is that your priority? From the very get-go, you got into a plane and love catch them, like saying a mosquito bite them. Why? Crazy things. And then you have the air hostesses who were comprised of 5 faces: Nancy Sima, Jemima Osunde, Sharon Ojas. They actually fine ladies, talented ladies relegated to, being literal 5 faces with a very silly subplot. Their subplot was, one of them is a betrayal. We didn't even need to have that entire thing. I was already pissed that they were wasted, in the role. Now, why did you cast these 5 faces, these talented faces, these popular faces in a worker pass role, a glorified worker pass role, and then you give them a subplot that was insulting both to, will I say to them? I don't know if they mind, because these days they don't mind. But, let's play that one. So that's the kind of things we get. It's Hijack 93, man. I had hopes, that's the thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have hope. I had hopes that we're going to get a film. If you listen to that documentary I did, or that recap of history that I did, you'd see that I had hopes that we would have a story that is going to be reflective socially, politically, had something profound to say, maybe about the era, the aftermath of the era, how corruption has continued to thrive. These guys, the real hijackers, they've given interviews years after they were released from prison, some of them, about how they were fighting for something They really believed that they were fighting for something, you know. The country was corrupt and their demands and all. Yes, it told us they're fighting for something, but for what? We don't really get why. We don't really get it. And you don't even attempt to make anything profound or a connection between then and now. You go, instead, what we go, I think we got a scene where Yoruba and Igbo man were trying to fight, you know, and it's more like, no, let's not be fighting amongst ourselves. We should fight the hijackers. And, you know, that was the most, they attempted to say something. And that was, of all the things he could say, you know, and for somebody who was saying, let's fight our hijackers. Multiple times we had the hijackers, all 4 of them, just 4, would leave all the passengers, go to a corner and collude. Passengers were not bound, you know, their hands were not tied, nothing. And we had soldiers on board, you know, and you know, multiple times the story allowed itself to end early. You know, the hijackers would have been taken out easily. That did not happen. Multiple times we had opportunities. I think even once where 𝐒𝐻𝐤𝐧 character comes outside, you know, and there was a clear shot for the soldiers, the Nigerian soldiers, to take him out, and that did not happen, you know. And then the straw that broke the camel's back, I think there was and the hijackers were told that they have their families in custody. They went to they were thinking, what do we do? This changes everything. Oh my God. And then one of them was like, let us give the hostages a choice. I believe in humanity. I went on a whole rant episode on Twitter, you know. It was crazy, you know. I thought it was silly. I feel like there's just a lot to get through. It's just crazy, man. Hijack 93, is it worth watching? I don't know. I'll let you decide after everything you've heard so far. You decide. I'm so in my feelings. It's just disappointing. You know, we had a good opportunity and it was wasted. And yeah, why I think I mispronounced Nollywood for Hollywood is because, I don't know, after watching Hijack 93, I just started to think back about the whole Idris Elba Things Fall Apart conversation from a few weeks back, and I've been on the fence about that. I've just been neutral, you know. I don't think it's a bad or a good thing. Or I didn't think it was a bad or a good thing. But after Hijack 93, man, I think I'm tilting more towards it's a good thing. Let Hollywood tell that story. At least the chances of it being messed up on the fundamental basis of it being a story, you won't get. Because check this movie out. With Netflix funding, this is the first Netflix Nigerian film that has been released globally in a while, you know. So there was good funding. You can't even get something as basic as the costuming, the set designs for all the slashbacks that you probably could have done without, you know. Couldn't get them right. Could not really feel. You couldn't transport me properly. So what are we doing? So please, if Hollywood wants to tell Things Fall Apart, they're free. At least I know for that will be immersed in a world that is suitable to that story. And, you know, story-wise, it will not be bad. Probably what we complain about is Idris Elba giving us another Beast of No Nations, that kind of accent, and that I can live with. 9 years later, Beast of No Nation is still a profound and remarkable film. So please, what are we talking about? By the time I'm done with this review, I'd probably forget Hijack 93 ever existed. Is Hijack 93 worth watching? I'll let you decide and let me know in the comments. Thank you.